First, the headlines. Algeria is currently betting on its significant political influence inside Libya by giving a strong boost to the inter-Libyan dialogue, second round that kicked off today here in Algiers. The head of the French Senate's Foreign Relations Committee, Jean-Pierre Raffarin, met here in Algiers with the president of the National Enterprises Forum, Mr. Ali Haddad. And presidential elections are underway in Sudan, where the incumbent president Omar al-Bashir is expected to triumph in a landslide in the face of weak competition. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Dzair News and welcome to this English news edition. First, in our top stories, Algeria is currently betting on its significant political influence inside Libya by giving a strong boost to the inter-Libyan dialogue, second round that kicked off today here in Algiers, against a backdrop of the growing terrorist threats posed by the so-called Islamic State terror group, in addition to the Western countries' will to militarily intervene if necessary. Hence, Minaras.
Libyan party leaders are back in Algeria for a new round of inter-Libyan dialogue with a view to reach a unity government along with a ceasefire agreement on the Libyan territory. Some followers close to the UN envoy Bernardino Leon have revealed that this round is witnessing some serious preparations carried out by the mediation, allowing therefore the elaboration of the new Libyan government's guidelines. Despite the Algerian mediation's reservation towards revealing its tactics concerning the Libyan file, as well as its connections with the rest of the powerful leaders, an improvement is seen on the horizon to be announced during today's round in Algiers. Nevertheless, the Algerian mediation has taken into consideration the security issues in Libya, notably the so-called Islamic State's terrorist threats there, and the escalation between the Libyan army and Fajr Libya forces, in addition to regional and international interference in this file. And in this context, Major General Khalifa Haftar is currently visiting Jordan in his first foreign trip after being appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Libyan forces. The Western intervention didn't only politically back the conflicting parties, but it reached the point where Italy offered military intervention if necessary. All these factors represent a major challenge to Algeria, who's betting on its political and tribal influence to solve the Libyan crisis.
The Algerian and French companies are expected to work together not only to foster joint projects, but also to assess other markets, said Sunday in Algiers the chairman of French Senate's Committee on Foreign Affairs, Defense and Armed Forces, Jean-Pierre Raffarin, now on a working visit to Algeria. Karim Fazakri.
The chairman of French Senate's Foreign Affairs Committee, Jean-Pierre Raffarin, wants to develop special bilateral relations and cooperation in several fields between France and Algeria on a win-win deal. It seems that France wants to keep the first position in the Algerian market by trying to enlarge the axis of trade. For instance, it expanded its investment project by setting an automobile plant, Renault, after it lost its position in the Algerian market to China, which became the first supplier of Algeria in 2014 by a rate of $8.2 billion. After the oil crisis that Algeria witnessed, the government now wants to set up a productive and varied economy based on cooperation and continuing bilateral exchanges with France to benefit from the latter's experience. In addition, the Algerian government aims at convincing the French investors to enter new fields. During his stay in Algiers, the French senator will have meetings with several Algerian state senior officials as well as key Algerian businessmen and investors.
In addition to his diplomatic and political activities as part of his visit to Algeria, the head of the French Senate's Foreign Relations Committee, Jean-Pierre Raffarin, met here in Algiers with the president of the National Enterprises Forum, Mr. Ali Haddad. The visiting senior French parliamentarian stressed during his encounter with Mr. Ali Haddad his country's full availability to forge a close and diversified cooperation with Algerian companies in Algeria itself or elsewhere in the world, and also to shore up profit-yielding investment opportunities in both countries.
Nous avons discuté des rencontres à tenir dans les
We've talked about working together to develop our enterprise in Africa. We also talked about meetings we're going to have in the next few months. We've met a very dynamic man who wants to develop relations with the Algerian enterprise. We talked about lots of sectors like agriculture and the automobile industry.
Sur l'agriculture, sur l'industrie automobile.
In economy-related news, Algeria achieved a trade surplus of $483 million in January 2015 against $847 million in the same month in 2014. That is a decrease of 43%, while two Asian countries are in the first place as supplier, China and customer South Korea, according to the National Customs Statistics Center. The decline in the country's trade surplus was due to a decrease of more than 11% of export earnings from January 2014, induced by the significant drop in the world oil prices. More with Mohamed Barazwan.
Algeria's exports hit over $58 billion from January to late November 2014 against $59 billion in the same period of 2013, slightly down 0.68%, said the National Center for Data Processing and Statistics of the Algerian Customs CNIS. Concerning imports, that rose to over $53 billion against $50.19 billion, up 6.19%. These results show the rate of coverage of imports by exports of 110% against 118% in the same period of comparison, down 8 points. With this rate of evolution, the customs expect to wrap up 2014 with a trade surplus of about $5 billion. According to forecasts by the CNIS, the exports are expected to reach throughout the year nearly $64 billion, while imports are expected to hit $59 billion. The hydrocarbons continue to represent the bulk of the Algerian exports, with a share of 95.75% of the overall volume of exports, that is $56.2 billion during the first 11 months of 2014 against $57.23 billion in the same period of the past year. The revenues from all exports have indeed decreased slightly 1.84%, which is explained in particular by the drastic slump in world oil prices. The non-oil exports, which accounted for 4.25% of the total amount of Algerian exports, reached nearly $2.5 billion during the first 11 months of 2014. The non-oil exports are made up of semi-finished products, foodstuffs, raw products, industrial capital commodities, in addition to non-food consumer goods. Concerning the imports, two groups of products decreased, that is of energy and lubricants, and were set at minus 38.84%. Algeria's first 5 customers are Spain, followed by Italy, France, Great Britain, and the Netherlands. As for the main suppliers of Algeria, China tops the standings with over $7 billion, followed by France, Spain, Italy, Germany, and the United States of America.
Moving on to world news, in Sudan, presidential elections are underway in Sudan, where the incumbent Omar al-Bashir is expected to triumph in a landslide in the face of weak competition. Sudan's main opposition parties have boycotted the elections, describing the polls as incredible. Maher Zahi and the details.
On Monday morning, Sudan began voting in elections shunned by the opposition and expected to see the incumbent president Omar al-Bashir hold on to power for another 5-year term. Voting will continue for 3 days, and though 13 million people have registered to vote at 11,000 polling stations, voting got off to a slow start with mostly soldiers and elderly people showing up at the booths. Sudan's main opposition groups are boycotting the elections, in which 15 little-known candidates are contesting. The opposition say that no credible elections can be held until peace is restored in all national regions. Security is a major concern in Sudan as violence has escalated in the states of Darfur, the Blue Nile, and South Kordofan. Various armed groups have threatened to interrupt the electoral process. In response, the government has deployed 75,000 police personnel across the country to secure voting. Opposition have also demanded the release of all political prisoners and asked for increased press freedom. Voters can also vote for members of the National Assembly and legislative councils. The African Union, the Intergovernmental Authority, the Organization of the Islamic Conference, and the Arab League will monitor the elections.
In Egypt, at least 12 people were killed Sunday and more injured in separate attacks on a police station, a checkpoint and along a highway in country's northern Sinai region. 6 people, including one civilian, were killed when a car bomb exploded near the police station in Al Arish, capital of North Sinai. Health Ministry spokesman Hussam Abdel Ghafer told Ahram online. He said 40 people were injured. The self-proclaimed Ansar Bayt al-Maqdis, an extremist ISIS group affiliate, claimed responsibility for the attack, which came hours after another operation that the group also claimed. And Turkey and Saudi Arabia, 2 nations with a long history of rivalry, are in high-level talks with the goal of forming a military alliance to oust Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, according to sources familiar with the discussions. The talks are being brokered by Qatar, as the partnership is currently envisioned. Turkey and provide group troops supported by Saudi Arabian airstrike to assist moderate Syrian opposition fighters against Assad's regime, according to one of the sources. President Barack Obama was made aware of the talks in February by the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, during the Emir's visit to the White House, according to reliable resources. A White House spokesperson, however, declined to comment. Former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton announces 2016 White House bid to become the first female president of the country via social media on Sunday evening, according to reports. In doing so, Hillary Clinton, widely seen as the forerunner for the Democrats' nomination, is the party's first candidate to declare her bid for the White House in 2016. Karim Faz-Zakri.
Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion. I'm running for president.
Casting herself as a champion for everyday Americans, Hillary Clinton is kicking off her campaign to become the first female U.S. president. She announced her bid on Sunday evening through a video on her website and on social media. In Maryland, supporters are oozing with confidence as the former Secretary of State sets her sights on Democratic nomination.
I went out and campaigned for her in 2008, and I have been waiting for this moment patiently, hoping she would run again.
Clinton's bid has also got tongues waging at the MTV Music Awards in Los Angeles. Performer Jennifer Lopez was among the celebrities giving their reaction.
I mean, I just heard literally down on the carpet, like 3 down, and I'm excited about it. I think it's a great thing. I think she's ready for the task. Yeah.
At the White House in Washington, views have been mixed about Clinton's bid, but one visitor said she's backing her all the way.
Fabulous, fabulous. She's already got my vote.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's about time. Well, you want something done right, you have a woman do it.
Clinton, who is the frontrunner for the Democratic nomination, will be focusing on her plans to tackle economic inequality. But some liberals still need convincing that she's the best candidate for the job. Besides, with Jeb Bush running for president, she could also have another problem: her name.
The United States is not some crown to be passed between 2 families. It is an awesome and sacred trust that to be earned.
On the Republican side, a crowd of potential candidates are vying for the party's nomination. Republicans have already taken a swing at Clinton over U.S. foreign policy.
Back to national news. Showroom galleries have been witnessing this month a lot of creative activity through all sorts of art exhibitions. This endeavor is aimed at encouraging art lovers by allowing them to share their creative talents. Hints Minoras.
Coinciding with National Heritage Month, showroom galleries in Algiers are witnessing an enhanced activity. Dar el-Kins, in other words, Treasure House, is one of these showrooms that has opened its doors to art fans through regular art expositions combining plastic art with artistic creativity.
We started back in 1996, 20 years already. We encourage all Algerian artists and others as well. Our doors are open to all types of artistic creativity.
The galleries include workshops creating frameworks for the paintings. All sorts of artists, whether amateurs or professionals and from several regions, find refuge there.
We have multiple themes. All 14 artists in this year's gallery represent their regions, be it the architecture or the scenery.
Since patrimonies changed through the years, each adapted according to its region. The pieces of art exposed in the gallery recall the history of their origins. These galleries embrace artistic talents and cultural innovation of all sorts, if only one acknowledges the value of art and culture.
Finally, in our sports file, the Algerian Football Federation has released a statement on its official website addressing the issue of alleged corruption involving the referee who officiated last week's First League Championship match between CS Constantine and Nadia Kasmi. Maher Mzahi gives us the full story.
On Monday morning, the Federation of Algerian Football released a statement concerning the CS Constantine versus NA Hussein Dey match that took place on Friday afternoon. The Federation revealed that a complaint was submitted by CS Constantine about the two assistant referees scheduled to officiate the fixture, Zerhouni and Rizgan. The Senafir accused the two of corruption, and the Federation seemed to give their complaint credence by switching the linesmen the night before the fixture. Friday's incident was not the first this season. In September, during a Bourj Bouaririj versus Tlemcen match, assistant referee Bitam took off his uniform and marched off the pitch in the 26th minute of the match. He revealed a t-shirt that accused several administrators of corruption. It read, "Karbaj, Hammoum, manipulate the game." Bitam later claimed in a press conference that Mahfoud Karbaj, who at the time was the president of the league, asked him to intelligently eliminate GS Kabylie. He also said that Karbaj asked him to favor MC Algiers over USM of Algiers in the 2014 Algeria Super Cup. Though there is no evidence behind Bitam's claims, more and more supporters believe that there can be no smoke without fire. In their statement, the Federation of Algerian Football promised to continue monitoring ethics and integrity of all competitions and that they would heavily sanction any and all violations. But it seems that the governing body has its work cut out for them.
The end of our English news edition brought to you live from Dzair News Channel. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.